Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for the segment, we have Bill Capuzzi, CEO of Apex, to discuss Gen Z investing trends and what their favorite stocks are, according to the fourth quarter 2021 Apex Next Investor Outlook. Bill, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Good to see you, Jill. Thanks for having me on.
You got it. And tell us about the Outlook survey and the methodology behind it.
Yeah, look, let's start with what is Apex, right? We are a platform and we power a lot of the sort of next generation direct to consumer platforms that are out there, right? So the SoFis, the Stashes, the Weebles, the Publics that are out there today, our focus is powering the behind the scenes, right? So the account opening, the funding, all the trading, the settling of trades, confirm statements, all the things that happen sort of behind the scenes to help bring to life investing, especially for this next generation of investors. That's sort of the maniacal focus for us as a company.
So, Bill, when we take a look at the survey, what were the top 5 stocks, and are there any noticeable trends since the last report?
Yeah, so we looked at, first of all, over the course of the last year, obviously lots of new investors, right? And I think the most interesting when we looked at it was how many Gen Z investors. So average age 21 years old, there's 4 million Gen Z investors that we're supporting today on behalf of our B2C customers, clients. And I think the broad stroke here, when you looked at what were those Gen Z investors, what are millennials investing in, there's that sort of old Peter Lynch phrase, which is invest in what you know. So we looked at the top 5 to your question and where things landed at the end of the year. Tesla was number 1. It started the year as number 1. It ended the year as number 1. Apple, interestingly, AMC, we'll talk about meme stocks, was number 3 on the list. And then rounding out the top 5, Amazon and Microsoft.
Are younger generations engaged with the metaverse?
Yeah, so we looked at what's happening in and around the metaverse. It's obviously really topical in the news today, and probably not too surprising. Facebook, or now called Meta, is a popular name for both millennials and Gen Zs. It's at number 12 on the list. Another, I think, really interesting example is Roblox, which went public this past year, jumped way up. It was obviously not on the list because it wasn't a public company. It's now number 44 on the list. And then the third part around the metaverse is, Apex as a platform offers the ability for folks to invest in crypto. And we saw a massive sort of influx, especially Gen Z and millennial investors accessing cryptocurrency as part of their portfolios in 21.
And Bill, we know culture impacts employment decisions for the younger generation. Does it also impact their investing decisions?
Yeah. So, we looked at the names. I think probably the most interesting sort of cultural impact when we looked at sort of the top 100 was around environmentally focused, climate focus. And I think the great example that I mentioned, Tesla is number 1. But you go from there and you look, this is top 100 names held by Gen Z and millennials. You had Tesla at number 1. You had NIO, which is the Chinese electric company, at number 8. You had Lucid, again, electronic vehicle company, at number 10. And then exciting, at the end of the year, Rivian went public and jumped obviously from out of it wasn't on the list to number 44. So you had 4 names in the top 100, which were really focused around sort of being environmentally conscious.
And Bill, when we discussed the fourth quarter report of 2020, there's no way I ever thought AMC would ever make it to the top 100. I'm sure you were surprised as well. Are meme stocks losing steam despite AMC taking the 3rd spot?
Yeah, so today, by the way, the 28th, if you go back 1 year today, is when things really kind of took off in and around meme stocks. And it's a day, frankly, in my career, I won't ever forget. And it sort of launched, obviously 2020, AMC, GME, probably the 2 most popular names as it relates to the meme stock cohort. They weren't on the list. All of a sudden they got thrust on in the first quarter and they went from 0, nowhere on the top 100. GME was number 4, AMC was number 6 at the end of the first quarter. They changed order. So what happened by the end of the year is that AMC took the top spot at number 3, like I mentioned, and then GME dropped to number 11. So they did fall a little bit from where they were in the beginning of the year. I think it's interesting to look at what happened since the beginning of this year, 2022, excuse me. Both of those stocks traded way off, but yet the millennials and Gen Zs are actually adding to their positions in those stocks. The ratio of buys to sells is about 1.5 to 1 in terms of them adding position, despite the fact that there's been a sell-off since the beginning of this year.
Always interesting to take a look at these surveys. Bill, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.